Kakadosh, Boker Or. Daf Yomi Masechet Menahot Daf Nun Daled Amud Aleph 54:1. We're just going to start on the last line and Gimel Amud Bet 53b. Where oh, Tanu Rabbanan. Yeah, it says we learned in a Braita En Machmitzin Betapuchim. Yeah, what does that mean? Right, the Lachme Toda and Shtei Alechem. Right, we're not going to make them with mitz tapuchim because the chimutz with meperot is not chimutz, which is going to be machshir for menachot chametz. Mishum Chanin Gamliel Amru machmitzin. So basically, there's a machloket. Can it become chametz with mei perot? Everyone understood? Right? Which, by the way, you should know that's halacha nowadays also. Nowadays, we hold, according to Sfaradim, that there's no chametz with mei perot, and therefore the egg matzah is with apple juice and matzah shira. So matzah shira, we're allowed to have it, Sfaradim. But Ashkenazim do not because they hold it's machmitzim. So they only hold that you're allowed to only for sick people or for children. If you look on the boxes, it's going to be written egg matzah is only going to be kosher for the. Well, papushata ze 1 second. Okay. So what we just did was we just mentioned the machloket to do with haim mitz tapuchim are machmitz or not machmitz. Rav Kahana, matznila berbi Chanina ben Tradion. So Rav Kahana came and he taught the Yediyah Shniya in the name of Chanina ben Tradion. So keman azla haditnan. Who does it go like this that we learned to the Mishnah? Tapuach sheliskov mtano betoch ha'isa v'chimtza harezu asura. So he says that tapuach. We're talking about the apples, right? That they came and they crushed it, right? And they put it inside of the isa and it became chametz. So it's asura. Who's that? Keman. So what do we just say? It's going to be Rav Chanina ben Gamliel. Because Rav Chanina ben Gamliel said that the mitz tapuchim is going to be machmitz. V'lo Rabbanan, not like Rabbanan, because Rabbanan say that it's not going to be machmitz. So says the Gemara, no, afilu teim Rabbanan, if you're going to tell me Rabbanan, nehid chametz kamur lo havi, even if it's going to be chametz kamur, noksha miyavi, but it's still considered chametz noksha. Noksha is like basically chametz, which became basically something which is not going to be batel be'elef, right? That means even though it's not kasher menachot chametz, but it's considered chametz noksha. I don't know how you translate chametz noksha in English. It's like a bad chametz. Inferior, yeah, bad, inferior. Chametz nuksha is chametz garua. As Omer, biglash is chametz garua. It's not 100% a chametz. Meaning, it's not a chametz that you're going to be yitzei chova. Meaning, it's not matzah, but it's not chametz. Chametz is chametz tov. לא יודע אם זה בדיוק תערובת. Yeah, but it's not really a tarovet, but it's not the best. Meaning, it's not a good chametz. You understand? Okay. Next. So he says, Amar Bila, says Bila, en lecha kashe. There's not something that's going to be minchat kasher for kmitza more than minchat choteh. Why? Since it's so dry, so if it's difficult to come and to take the meloa kometz. Meaning, the more moist that it is, the easier it is to come and to pick up the chometz with your fingers. But if it's dry, now minchat choteh was dry. Why was minchat choteh dry? Ronen, why is it dry? Minchat choteh. No, why do you pass along the ball? You know this. Why is it dry? Because we don't want it to be. You see, you know that answer. So what do you say? Exactly. So, and we don't want the chotesh niskar. We don't want that a person sins and he gains from his sin. So for his korban, ze ala panim. It's not even good. It doesn't taste good. It's dry. It's yavesh. Exactly. Yeah. So that's why it's yavesh. Very good. Kol hakavod. You see, he knows the stuff. We're on the ball. Yeah. So he says, Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi Amar, Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi comes and he says, says you're allowed to knead it a little bit with water, right? And therefore you could come and you could take it. That means even though you can't use the oil and therefore it's still yavesh and everything, you put it with a little bit of water in order that you could still take the komets, right? And so he says, Leima. So when we say that there's a machlok between them, the more holds and that we're going to be mishayed just like that way. Meaning, are we going to do it like the way that it is now, or the way during the time of the Medidah, or we're going to be like the way once upon a time? So it says no. We were going to do it the way that it is now. And there's a machloket. The more savar mai chareva. What does it mean dry? Chareva mi shemen. It's dry from shemen. More savar chareva mi kol davar. Meaning the question is like this: when you tell me that the minchat choteh is chareva, chareva means it has to be dry, completely dry, or it's only dry from oil. So you're right. What ma meshabeach ota et shemen. So fine, take away the shemen. Water, everything has water. So water, okay, give it a little bit of water, there's no problem. So that's a machloket between the two different opinions. Okay, Tnan Hatam we also learned over there. Basara egel. We're talking about basara egel shintzpach. Yeah. So basically, what happens is you have basar egel that at the beginning was not kabetza, and then it got puffed up to a kabetza. Basar, right? Zekena shenitmeich, or you've got a basar zekena that nitmeich, which means at the beginning it was a kabetza, and then it shrunk. Right? You remember, the more people they get older, they shrink. So it says mishta'anin lekmot shehen. So it's going to be how do you call it? Measured, right? Just the way that they are. So Rav Chia Rabbi Yochanan Amre, right? Mishtarin kemo shehen. Shmuel Rabbi Shimon Maliki Shamar Mishtarin kemot shehen. What's the difference? Kemot shehen and mishtarin, and it's the same thing. What? 1 second. Lekemot shehen. I didn't understand. I read the same thing. I'm saying it's the exact same thing. What are they saying? The first one was mishtarin and kemot shehen, meaning like the way that they are now. Shemuel and Shimon Melaki says mishtarin lekemot shehen, right? With the lamed, lekemot shehen means the way that they were at the beginning, right? Because when I read it, it sounded the same thing. Mishtarin kemot shehen, kemot shehen. I'm looking. I'm like, what's the difference between them then? So it's no lekemot shehen, the way that it was in the beginning. So Meitvei, we're going to ask the following question: Basara egel lo yabo kashiur v'tafach v'amal kashiur. Imagine right now you have basara egel. At the beginning was not like the shiur of tumat ochlin, and then afterwards it became the shiur tahor l'she'avar. So it's going to be nekshav tahor to beforehand. V'tameh from now onwards, it's going to become tameh. Why? Because now it has the shiur, right? So answers the Gemara, no. That's only midrabbanan. Only midrabbanan do you say that, right? But it's really be'ameh min Torah. We go after the shiur hamekori, meaning if the beginning was not a kabetza, so it's not going to be metameh. Okay? Ihachi, if so, emaseva, let's say the seifa. V'chem bepigul, v'chem benotar, right? Or pigul and notar. If you're going to tell me now doraita, hainu dika pigul and notar, that's why there's the pigul and notar. But if you're going to tell me the rabbanan, there's no such thing as the rabbanan pigul and notar. So says Gemara, no. Ema v'chen betumat pigul v'tumat notar. The tum'avet, not pigul notar itself. Pigul notar is doraita. The pigul, the tumat pigul, tumat notar, that's the rabbanan. So I would have thought to say, holvin tumat pigul, tumat notar, the rabbanan he. You were not going to make such a rabbanan. Kamashmaran comes teach you that even the rabbanan we didn't make it. Meaning, even though the concept of tum'ah legabe pigul ve'legabe notar is rak the rabbanan, I'm still, even on the rabbanan, going to make this gezerah as well, even though it was nitpach and it became bigger now. So Tashma, we're going to try to bring a proof then. Says, what about the opposite case? You had a piece of meat that now was nitmaech. It shrunk. At the beginning it was a kashiur. Afterwards nitmaech, ועכשיו זה לא kashiur. So shavar זה tameh. Now mikaron laba, it's going to be tahor. Why? It's not the shiur anymore. So that's a proof that we go after the way that it is now. So Amarabba kol echad meikar avabe v'yashtal be halet be right v'chol echad meikar lo have v'yashtal have be midrabanan. He said no. Every time at the beginning it was there and now it's not. According to everybody, we still go after the beginning. Meaning at the beginning it did have a kashiur. Now it shrunk. It doesn't matter. We go after the beginning according to everybody. But if it didn't have a shiur and now it becomes bigger, it how do you call it? It inflates. It becomes right? It becomes malei avir. Yeah, it bloated. Right? It becomes inflates. So there, that's only the rabbanan that it's going to be such a case. Okay? Nundale de mumbet, 54b. So keep lige. So what is a machloket in between them? So he says, Kigon shayabu kashiur v'tzamak, right? It had a shiur, it shrunk, v'chazav v'tafach, and then it went back again. The more savar yesh dichui b'yisura, the more savar. So there's machloket. Is there a dichui in isur or not? What does that mean? There was an isur. It got pushed off. Why did it got pushed off? Because it shrunk. But now it came back to the original amount. So do you say that it was pushed off, gamarnu, pushed off, that's it, there's no more anymore? Or do you say, no. Right now when it's smaller, it's nothing. But then when it bloats up again, it comes back to the original isur. So is there a dichui, is there a pushing off by an isur or not? That's a machloka between them. So says the Gemara, umi ika leman damar, is there bichlal leman damar that says yesh dichui b'isurim? But now we learned in the Mishnah, kibetza ochalin, right? Shinicha bechama, right? V'nitma'atu. When you have a kabetza of ochalin tmeim, that they place it in the chama and then nitma'atu. V'chen kezayit min hamet or kezayit min hamet, right? Or kezayit min hanevelah, kadasha min hasheretz. These are the, by the way, these are the shiurim of all these things. Meaning, by tumat sheretz, it's adasha. right? By Nivela, it's a kezait, right? By kezait of the mat, whether it's going to be a kabetza of food. Okay, so now in all these, this is the right kezait of pigulu, kezait notar, kezait of chelef. En chayvim alehem, you're not going to be chayvim alehem shum pigulu notar v'chelef. V'nichan ba geshamim, but if you put it in the rain and now it bloated up because of the rain, to me, chayvim alehem shum pigul v'notar v'chelef. So tiyuvta leman da'amar yesh yichui beisunin. So now you have a tiyuvta. Because how could you tell me there's a dichui b'yisurin? Here there was no. If there's a dichui, gamarnu dichui. So says the Gemara, you're right. It's a good refutation. Meaning from here is a refutation that really be'emet there's no dichui b'yisurin, because you see that after you put it in the rain, if it bloated up again, it goes back to the original source of the yisur, and therefore there's no dichui by yisurin. Tashema, we learned in the Braita. Tormim in te'anim agrogrot b'minyan. You're going to be torem on maaser, on te'anim from grogerot. Remember, te'anim are regular figs. Grogerot are the dried figs that you put them to dry on the roof, right? B'minyan, right, with numbers. So, for example, 10 te'anim on 9 te'anim, right? But not according to midah. I mean, not according to measurements, but in numbers, not in measures. Okay? So, if you're going to tell me now the kamoche and meshanim that we go in the past, that the way that it was in the past, he says shapir, so it's good. But if you're going to tell me now, the way that it is now, so now you're going to give more, right? Masrot, which means that you're going to give more of the maaser, right? Because according to the grugerot, right, you don't have to separate more than 9, right? At the beginning, maybe you have to separate 10, but now it's only 9 because they dried up, they shrunk, right? Remember, when things dry up, it shrinks, right? Because you take away all the liquid inside, so therefore things, right? When you have, raisins or all these things, anything which is dried, right? Apricots, anything which is dried, even meat, everything. Exactly, the weight, everything, it shrinks, right? You had the meat at the beginning, it was all you put it in the oven, it shrinks, right? All these things, they shrink, right? Vitanya, cold cuts, 100%. Well, when does cold cuts shrink? After you made them. Yeah. And it's very, very thick. The real cold cuts. What you buy from Yeah. Yeah. Turkey. One that you buy from they're very, very fat, and then it becomes like this, and they hang it so it leaks. And then it dries up, so that and then it shrinks. No, הם משאירים את זה כמה... ותניא, we learned in הברייתא, המרבה במעשרו, פירותיו מתוקנים, מעשרו מקולקלים. אלא מה לכמות שהן, what does it mean then כמות שהן? עם הסיפא, let's see the סיפא. גרוגרות של הלתנים במידה, אם בשביל כמות שהן, if you're going to tell me now it's כמות שהן the way that it is now, shapir is going to be good, but if you're going to tell me לכמות שהן the way that it was in the past, right, מרבה במעשרות, you're going to give too much מעשרות. So he says, but here we're talking about truma gdola skinan, right? V'reisha bain yafa, v'seifa bain yafahi, and each one is going to be bain yafa. Remember, the truma gdola is not the same as regular trumot umasrot. The first thing that you have to do when you take off, right, when you take something from the field, is truma gdola. Truma gdola goes to the kohen, right? The maaser rishon goes to the levi. Maaser mina maaser goes to the kohen, right? Maaser ani goes to the Ani, right? Maaser Sheni goes to the? No. Maaser Sheni. It was a trick question. Huh? There's no Maaser Sheni. There is Maaser Sheni. But who does Maaser Sheni go to? Huh? The owner himself. The owner himself eats the Maaser Sheni. But he has to eat it in Yerushalayim. Yeah, that's the second 10%. Exactly. Sell it, redeem it with the money, add a fifth, and then take a... מעשר to the Kohen. מעשר מן המעשר to the Kohen. מעשר מן המעשר זה נקרא גם תרומת מעשר, שזה 10%, והוא נותן מעשר מן המעשר לכהן. 1, 2, 4, 5, כל הכבוד.
זה רשום לו על זה, הוא עשה זה, שלא ישכח.
זה רשום לו על זה, על הטאטו, Yeah. Fine. So here we're talking about Truma Gdola. Truma Gdola Midoraita is like 1 in the 50th, one is like Mamash, there's Ayin Yafeh, there's this, that, there's like... Yeah? Ihachi, if so, Ema Seifa, let's see the Seifa. Amada Bilazar Rabbi Yoseh, Abaya Notel Eser Gogosh Mamikzo al Tishim Shkakla, Ve'i Truma Gdola. If we're talking about Truma Gdola, Eser Mavete. Meaning like this, if he's taking 10%, what are you talking about now, Truma Gdola? Truma Gdola doesn't exist 10%. 10% is regular Maaser. It's not Truma Gdola. Right? You told me it's Truma Gdola. Truma Gdola is not 10%. Right? So what are you talking about then? Yeah, you have it there in the footnote. It's Chad Shishim, 1/60th. So 10% is not 1/60th. 1/60th, you know what 1/60th is? But Tel Shishim already. Think about it. It's Klum. You saw what the Kohen just said? He says, keep it for yourself. Don't even give it to me. 1/60th.
160. תאר לך אם היית נותן לקדוש ברוך הוא 50-60, 40-60, תאר לך, אתה 160 בתורה, את ה-59 בטלפון ב-30.
Yeah, so he comes and he says, Ella Barather, Hacha, yeah, betrumat maaser askidem. We're talking about trumat maaser. והבעל הזה בן גומל הוא. תתניא הבעל הזה בן גומל אומר, ונחשב לכם תרומתכם כדגם בשתי תרומות, it's two different תרומות, תרומה גדולה ותרומה מעשר. כשם תרומה גדולה ניתנת בעומד ומחשבה, just like תרומה גדולה can be given, right, without being מדויק, so too תרומה מעשר is ניתנת בעומד, right, also מחשבה, מה תרומה גדולה בעין יפה, so too תרומה מעשר is going to be given בעין יפה, so therefore you're going to give more than the 10th, you're going to be חייב, you could come, you could give it, but it's going to be במחשבה, בעין יפה, with a good eye, you could give as much as you want, right, that's what you're going to give. So therefore, really, Be'emet, you could give even Pishnaim from what Be'emet you're obligated to give. So therefore, they were actually given even double than what Be'emet they had to give. They were giving it to the Kohen, but they wanted to give an Ein Yafal to the Kohen. Yeah, they didn't want, they wanted that the Kohen should be happy, he shouldn't be miserable. He comes in, yeah, keep it for yourself. Yay! They wanted the Kohen to be happy, so they went, even if they would give him double, they would just Ein Yafa. They always wanted to give the Ein Yafa to the Kohen. Understand? Very good. Have a wonderful day, everyone.